All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to another week of First Gen Den. This week, I wanted to mix things up a little bit, and I'm actually recording this video inside of the camper, just so you guys can see kind of what's going on. I had literally just cleaned it today and felt like this is a good time to show it off. But yeah, so this week is finding your tribe, or just kind of like finding your people, your group, how you get involved, all of that. But before we get into that, I kind of want to talk a little bit about my past week and give a little bit of an update. So as I said last weekend, me and my roommate, or I guess camper mate, went to Nashville for the 4th of July and kind of celebrated that on Broadway. And that was actually a lot of fun. There were a lot of country music performances, kind of headlined by Dirk Bentley. You know who he is. It was a great time. Ate dinner at Jason Aldean's restaurant just on Broadway, and it was kind of a lot of fun to go there. And then there was a fireworks show right after that, which we also kind of had some pretty solid views for. They caught a tree on fire as well, so it was interesting seeing, the boat just kind of come out there and respond to that. And then also for the fireworks show, there was a drone show, which actually, if you do not know, the company called Sky Elements, you may have seen them on America's Got Talent. They actually were, one of their co-founders is a Rose-Hulman alumni. And for the past 2 years, for the 150th of the Institute, and then the 100th anniversary of the bonfire, they've came and done a drone show. So I believe I've got some clips playing right now of kind of what that looked like, and they've done some shows at Rose. So hopefully in your 4 years, you get an opportunity to see them do some drone shows at Rose-Hulman. But they are kind of big at this point and have a bunch of world records. Yeah, that was fun. Outside of that, it was a little bit of a stressful week, just trying to solve some car problems, but it is out of the way now, and we are back in the game. So yeah, it's about time to talk about finding your tribe. All right, so I don't have a script for this one because I'm pretty sure I know everything I want to say. I think it boils down to three main ways of kind of finding your group. The first one that I'm going to start with is your residence hall. I don't want to talk about this very long because I feel like I've talked about this a lot. But your first option for finding, your group of people is your residence hall. It's the first group of people that you're going to meet. And through that, I really think that, overall, you get out of it what you put into it. So I think that you should kind of like really go into it with an open mind and try and meet some people and make some friends there. Sometimes people show up to Rose and they just don't want anything to do with anybody else. They're like, I'm going to sleep here. This is my bed. I will occasionally talk to my roommate. And I always hear every year those people, at least in my conversations with them, they've always expressed that they regret doing that. So get involved early on. It may be hard, but just remember, like at the beginning, nobody knows anybody. There's like maybe a few people that might know each other, but as a whole, like nobody knows anybody. That's like your chance to establish who you are, what kind of person you want to be, what kind of friends you want. So there's that. You can do it through, intramurals, dinners, different events that you go to, and just kind of being around. Like at the worst of it, you get a homework buddy. So that'll be happening all year. Just give it a shot. Is my best recommendation. If you have more questions on residence halls that I haven't covered yet, let me know. But the second one is that I kind of thought of was kind of clubs and activities. So the first way that you can get involved with this is on something called Welcome Back Wednesday. So if you didn't know, your move-in date is on a Friday. As we kind of approach that date, talk about that a little bit more. That Friday, you move in. There's a bunch of things going on all throughout that week. That orientation that we've talked about. On that Wednesday for dinner, Rose always has kind of like an activity fair and just like this big, I guess, festival to kind of kick off the start of the year again. So at least the past 3 years, they've catered. Chick-fil-A had them there. Bon Appetit, the dining company, is out there serving dinner. There's nowhere else to eat on campus. Just go out there. There's a few companies there. That's your first chance to talk to them. It's casual as well, so you don't need to show up in a suit. There's a bunch of departments on campus. Everybody's always giving away free things. Always talk to career services. They tend to have nice rose glasses, like drinking glasses, and then playing cards as well. So talk to people, you get free things, but at the same time on BSB lawn, so that's literally right next to where that is, you'll learn everything about what the names and all that soon enough, is kind of the activities fair. So all of the different clubs and organizations have an opportunity to get a table and go out there and kind of talk about things. So it's, your traditional clubs, some of your, different service groups. I know, like, at least in the past, some like local churches has showed up and kind of been like, hey, this is why you should come to our church. So it's your opportunity to find how you want to get involved there. And it'll be like a couple hours in the evening. You just walk around and you kind of talk to the groups. Like, they'll have signs. Maybe you're like, oh, I really am interested in what Concrete Canoe could possibly be. And what I personally recommend is that you talk to everybody that you think might be interesting. A lot of them have like Discords that you can join. Campus groups is also kind of like a hub for that communication, mainly because it's easier to send emails out to the clubs that way. And just kind of get a vibe for what you might be interested in. And like, by no means is talking to them mean that you have to go to the club. You've joined that, you have expectations. It's just kind of like, I guess, like a mixer where you get to, kind of learn what's going on. Because of course they want you to join their club, but they want people that are, that are going to be, like active members and love what they're doing. Because engineering is tough. Like, you need an escape sometimes. So once you do that, I think that you should try early on to just get involved and go to a few clubs, see what you really like. Because it feels harder walking into a room with a group already established later in the year. And I know that you may have, some thoughts of like, oh, I want to get settled before I really start worrying about clubs, but that gets really difficult. Because I do think that there's a lot of good intents behind that idea. But once you've settled in, so has the club. And at least for me, it is difficult to kind of go out there and join something like that. Like, it's harder to make your way into the group. But if you do that at the beginning of the year, that's kind of what the intent is. And again, everybody understands that it's engineering and they want you to succeed. So if you just walk away from a club later in the year, nobody should judge you, just because, like, school comes first. Everybody came to Rose to get a degree, not to build a concrete canoe. Just first club that came to mind. But yeah, so just kind of go to as many as you think that you would want to go to. Build up your schedule, see what you're interested in, and go from there. You can always cut back. I think it's significantly easier to cut back than it is to add on. So that's kind of clubs. If you want to see a list of some of the ideas before the activities fair on Welcome Back Wednesday, you can go to campus groups, and under groups, you can kind of go through and see a lot of the offerings. Just if you like, I don't know, want to have like a hit list of places that you kind of want to go to. But the third way of, I think, finding your tribe and getting involved is actually Greek life. And I know not everybody may be interested in it right now, but please just hear me out for a couple minutes. Most people coming to Rose are like, I'm never joining Greek life. It's not for me. I don't want that kind of culture. And if you talk to, no matter which rush you go through, if you talk to anybody there, I would be willing to bet 90% of them in total say that they came to Rose not expecting to join Greek life, but are really glad that they ended up doing so. It's a nerd school. Everybody is kind of the same. Like, you're not going to get like a state school. Everybody's there just to party vibe at Rose. Like, it's school first. Like, that is the main thing. Like, you are getting resources out of that. And I think that perception is what kind of confuses people. Like, if you've seen any, movies with like fraternities or sororities in it, it's like, that is not what it's like first in a reality, and especially not at Rose. So at the very least, you should give it a shot. And giving it a shot, what does that look like? So there are two different processes, depending on which rush you're going to go through. So the fraternities at Rose, there are 8 of them, and those are ran by a body called IFC, the Interfraternity Council, and that rush is actually first. So all the male identifying students, that will start up after the first week of school. That Friday night is something called dorm storming. It's the only time that you're ever going to hear the word dorm in an official thing for Rose. And what that is you will just be in your room, and the fraternities will come to you in a shift schedule, and they will talk to you about what they are, what they stand for, like their values, like what you can expect out of that group, and be like, these are the events you should come to if like you're interested. And the reason is because, like, different people have different values. They care about different things. And that's just kind of your chance to see that. Granted, one or two people coming into your room and talking about something does not necessarily define what it is to be in a fraternity. So I believe, and what you'll hear from like a lot of upperclassmen, is that you should just rush everybody equally off the start. Don't base everything off of one interaction. Just go to an event for everybody if you're interested and kind of see how it is. Worst case, you walk away knowing that it's not for you and a bunch of free food, because most of the time fraternities will take you out to dinner just to talk to get to know you. It could be anywhere from somewhere fancy to McDonald's, kind of what you want and all that. So just at least give that part a chance, and that process will last many weeks. It'll kind of end up finishing up pretty much all the way through fall quarter on Bid Tuesday, where you get up and you get to sign a bid if you receive one. There's a bunch of formals and different processes in there. I'm not going to waste a ton of time talking about how that works today. If you're interested in that process, which I think everybody should just give it a shot, you should go ahead and talk to your RA or SA when you move in. There will be a ton of information to follow, but just know the first Friday after classes, so that'll be 2 weeks after you move in, should be like early September, mid-September, somewhere in there, if my math is correct. So be ready for that, and it's a blast. Like me personally, I'm a member of the fraternity as well, so I enjoy it. On the other side of things, if you're a female identifying student, you will be under the umbrella of the Panhellenic Council, and that consists of the 3 sororities on campus. So your rush actually is significantly later. It will start in winter quarter. So when you get back after fall quarter break, after Thanksgiving, that is when your rush officially starts. And I didn't really understand much of that just because I didn't have to go through. So I've talked to a few people just to try and figure out what this process is and why that is the case. And what I have heard is they'll have different events called informals throughout fall quarter. I think there's a specific number that each of them will have. And that's your chance to kind of just go talk to them, get to know all of them in a very low stakes environment. And this is so you kind of get a chance to meet women on campus ahead of time and build your community how you want. And then the first week, I believe it's the first or second week when you get back from winter quarter, is sorority rush. And that is only 1 week compared to like the 8 weeks that it is for fraternities. And you'll have different rush parties. I think it's like 4 total in the week. Like you get one night off, and it's just going through kind of like, I believe you dress up, or it gets dressier as the nights go on. You'll receive more information if you go through it. But you just kind of go through and talk to people, the different sororities, and eventually at the end of the week, you have like your preference Saturday where you kind of find out where you are. But then each organization has their own different things, and it's cool because you get to meet a bunch of people through the other groups, through socials. The IFC and Panhellenic Council have different combined events sometimes throughout the year, and there's a lot of really cool things. There's benefits. I mean, Greek students have some of the higher GPAs on campus. A large percentage of people are involved. There's so many different statistics. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but I do stress that you just give it a shot, even if you don't think it's for you. And if you don't want to join a social Greek organization, kind of like what you think you're like traditionally used to, there are some other like Greek letter organizations that are not like social and what you kind of think of. For example, the biggest one on campus is called APO, Alpha Phi Omega. It is a service fraternity. It's co-ed, and it's basically just like getting together and doing community service. So it's another opportunity to get involved and find your group without kind of getting into the traditional Greek life. You don't want that. But outside of that, there's a bunch of honor societies. I know a lot of the majors have like different specific technical like fraternities. They're called like professional ones. For example, the first one that comes to mind is for chemical engineers. It's called ACTS. No clue what it stands for. I couldn't tell you anything about it, but there's just different opportunities to get involved there and meet people from your major. So there is so much to do at Rose to find your people. It's quite literally impossible to do it all. So my best advice that I can give you, kind of what I want to leave you with today, is just go out, meet your people, go try different things and see how you want to get involved. Because it is significantly easier to walk away after you've already, started it than kind of show up later. But of course, you don't have to make the decisions all at the start of the year. You have time. You can start again a later year. You can come back to things if you want to. But I just personally think, from my experience, that it is best to just try it all at the beginning. So if you have any questions about how this all works, what it all looks like, let me know. I know it's a lot of information, and it's probably something that all of you are thinking about. But rest assured, if you put time into it and just try and put yourself out there, you will find your group, and you'll be happy in your 4 years, or more or less, at Rose-Hulman. So that's it for this week. I'm going to try and push out next week's video a little bit sooner in the week. My family will be visiting, so hopefully can't wait to talk about how things are going a little bit more. But yeah, that was it for now. And yeah, we'll see you next week.